I'm coming to you again from the point of domination. What I wanted to talk about here was some years ago, having some skills and an abundance of time, I decided that semi-automatic pistols were they had something to be desired, and in their design, and what that was this reciprocating slide as it goes up over the shooter's hand. That overburden recoil puts the bore axis higher than I thought it should be, and made the gun rather top heavy. And uh, some of the issues that go along with that were, when you get into limp wristing, malfunctions caused by limp wristing a semi-automatic pistol, it's due to the fact that it's got this one's chamber flag, so I know it's not loaded, but I have all this height. This is just a 22, but you know, uh, the full size, or a large, major caliber, I should say, major caliber pistol. The whole this whole thing would be the slide, and slide would reciprocate above your hand, and the top is up as high above the web of the web of the hand is uh, shown here. And so I wanted to see if I could figure out how to do something about that. So I started to tinker with some ideas, and I made some just a crude mock-up. I don't have it anymore. It was I made out of aluminum just to test the one concept. And once I had done that, I decided to go ahead and just make a prototype in steel. So what we have here is my very own. Get some of these parts out of here right now. Get rid of this box. What I have here is my very own design and prototype for a handgun. This one being in, it's marked here. It's marked on the slide there. And this blue is layout dye. This I just never washed it off. This gun's in the white. I never removed the tooling marks, but we got it marked on the slide here. 9mm Luger, and then does that work? 9x19 on the barrel. So what I was looking for here was a gun that sat very low in the hand. And if you notice, we lay these two side by side. How much different they are in height. The position of the barrel of the bore axis compared to the web of the hand. Down in this one, it's about an 1/8 inch. I think, as I recall, it's been a while since I measured this, but this one ended up with the bore axis just about 1/8 of an inch right above this point here, where the web of the hand sits. And then on a gun like this, conventional, parallel, like a parallel sliding rule type of slide, that bore axis is, well, in this one, I would say it's about 5/8 of an inch. It looks like. I'm trying to trying to visualize that line extended out. So it's a good 1/2 inch reduction in height on this prototype as compared to a lot of the what's out there. The lip wristing that we're talking about, when a handgun like this recoils, this recoil tends to pivot the gun up. So bore axis is high above the web of the hand. It has this ability to pivot the gun up. Well, if it does that while you're holding it, you're kind of losing some of the energy you have to from firing of the round to reciprocate the slide. So if the hand does not resist, if you don't have a good grip on this, your grip on the handgun is kind of factored into its function on a semi-automatic pistol. So if your grip is loose, this will rotate up. The direct rearward energy that it had to extract the fired round gets redirected, right, and it gets absorbed in this motion here, and it results in a short stroke on the short stroking on the slide, and failure to pick up the next round is what often happens. And so what I did here, another thing to prove out this concept, I made this for 2 reasons. I made this was mostly to this my idea for a sighting system that I was gonna make for a second prototype. But the other thing I did this for was to show that and get the web of the hand here. I can put this on the ground with my hand open because it's in line. I can put this on the ground. I can put my weight on this. If I had 2 of these, I could put my weight on this with my hand open and put my weight on it and do a push-up. Whereas because of its position up through here, if I tried to do that with a gun of this geometry, I'm going to put this muzzle on the ground. The force coming up goes through here, so it adds a twisting to once it twists this out of my hand. If you had a something to do, I wouldn't do it with a nice firearm, but you can make a prototype piece of wood that follows this. Try to do that. Put that on the ground and try to put your weight on that. What you'll find is you can't do it. You can't hold it tight enough unless you're rather light and you have really strong hands. But it gets really hard. So that's one of the problems inherent in the design. I know they work for the most part, but on this one, when this recoil comes, now it wants to go straight back, but what I did was I put this slide and cut a 10-degree angle to the bore axis, and that's what the mating surface is. The actual dovetail slide is 10 degrees to the bore axis, and what it does is it forces the gun down. When it reciprocates, it forces the gun down into the hand and back. So you don't have this, it's a lot more controllable. Number one, the weight is lower, much lower. All this weight is much lower in the hand. And until you pick this up, you don't appreciate how much more controllable this is over one of these. These turn into, you would just say they're clumsy. I'd say they're clumsy. The only thing I know that comes close is like that to this is the H and KP7, which I think is generally excellent. But um, getting this barrel down low, getting the slide weight down low, and having gets all this weight down low in the hand, and makes the pistol point more naturally. It makes it more stable in the hand. My father-in-law and I, we took this out one day to a gravel pit, and we were shooting without sights too. We were shooting without sights. I never made sights for this prototype, but we were shooting 2-liter bottles at 70 to 80 yards, and hitting them regularly, or scaring the hell out of them on a consistent basis. But very controllable, very pointable. What he noticed, I watched him, and he would put his hand down here and get this. We'd grip it low intentionally, and I asked him what he was doing, and he says this. I didn't realize this gun would do this, but what it would do when you held it here, and he pulled the trigger and he'd fire, the gun would, rather than trying to come out of his hand, it did the opposite of that. It planted it right in his hand. So if your first round on a gun with this arrangement, your first round is not going to take, if you have a bad grip under stress or for whatever reason, it's not going to take it out of your hand. What it's going to do is stick it down in your hand, just like that. Right? I'm pushing straight back along the bore axis when I do this, and I have my hand open, this hand open as much as I can. And, just hold it with the trigger. And by the way, this one's not, flashlight. I check these always before I start. Not loaded, no magazine. And one better, there's the firing pin's removed right now. But if I hold this low, and if I wasn't holding it at all with any of these fingers, and just by the trigger, and I pull the trigger and it fires, it's going to stick it down in my hand. The only time it would fall out of your hand is if you took your finger off the trigger at that point, and when it came forward, it would drop forward. But it is not coming out of your hand over the top. It just this 10-degree angle really made a difference, and that was the main claim in my patent. I got a patent on this feature years ago. So I wanted to bring it out. I had time, make a video about it, go through what it took to how it operates, and what it took to solve the problem. Once you decide to put this the slide on this angle to the bore, you have a problem of the geometry with the ammo. This as it sits here, this barrel is almost below. It's almost too low for the top round in the magazine to come out when this is in here. And these are that's a dummy round. That's just got Bondo in the primer hole there, and then the one under it's just empty casing. So this would be sitting up in here. This would be sitting up in here, and then when the slide's forward, this top round's pushed down inside. But the point being, you can't have this in the way as this recoil as it's the slide recoils. The barrel has to go up. Well, it's going to go up. because it's going up along this angle. But so had to come up with a way of to lock the breech. So the lock breech is rotating barrel. You can see here as I move it to the rear, the barrel rotates and it locks. It locks against that surface. It locks against this surface right here. And then there's a surface down inside, and we'll show that when we open it up. But it locks there. And there's a cam path, and I had to, the boss or arm that sticks out of the barrel had to be sufficient length to stay in contact with that cam track all the way through the cycle. You know, if you watch, we look at it here. Let's see that the barrel is. We'll do it this way. We'll do it down in here. Get this out of the way for the moment. Just say that the barrel, use this instead. Or the top of the slide's at that height. If I retract this, you see how the barrel goes up as the slide moves rearward. The barrel go back a certain amount just during the dwell time when it's still locked, and then when it hits that cam, it rotates, and then the barrel stops rearward movement, and the slide continues, and the barrel will continue up. And you see how that main spring rod has to tip, and that was the most current iteration of that spring. I could probably do a spring that stayed in line with the slide rather than tipping, but it didn't seem to be a big deal either way. So what else can we say about it before opening it up? I've got I didn't intend to make a magazine for it, for the prototype, but I came into this magazine and decided it wasn't much to make it fit the hole I had already made in the frame, and I made this magazine ambidextrous mag release. I had made it to it shares a spring with this transfer bar. So the same spring that works this mag release holds this bar up. But I was able to fit this magazine and see if I could make this prototype actually work as as a magazine firearm. So it does. It during live fire, it's kind of tricky. It's not the best. It wasn't the best setup. And there's some geometry issues in the feeding that would have to be worked out for for a second prototype, and then to go to, if it were to ever go to production. But that's how it goes. I had a doodle on a single. When I designed this, I had a doodle on a single piece of loose leaf line paper, and I built this whole thing in dimension. In my mind, I could see how this works. So that's one of the gifts I have. So anyway, we'll open it up and we'll go through, kind of show how it works. And not the prettiest slide stop, like I said. Prototype didn't have a nice slide stop made for it. What else? It didn't get sights, didn't get safety. But trying to figure out why it's holding. Oh, I know why it's holding up. Hammer. The hammer is cocked. So recoil spring and guide rod. There's the barrel. Barrel is I rifled this barrel, and unfortunately my the tooling I made for the rifling is at work, and we're on we're kind of in quarantine here, so I'm not able to show that. But I did make another tool and and I have it here. I have it in the layer here, so at some point I bring that out and I make a video about how to make your own rifling tools. So let's see if we can see. We can see the rifling here. There we go. Let's see. There we go. That's pretty good. You see, there. It's 9mm Luger or Parabellum, however you want to call it. I made the chambering reamer myself, and then I drilled and reamed the bore, and then I made a rifling tool and the jig that holds the barrel and the tool, and it's just on a Saturday afternoon at the kitchen table, I rifled this barrel. So it can be done. Any of this stuff can be done with. Be surprised what if you know what you're doing, what you can make. So there we go. There's that. Here's from the front end. There we go. The lighting's pretty good. I give it a whoops. Let's get this typical. I think it was 1/16 right hand twist. So that's the barrel, and it's on this frame. We have the. I don't know if we're gonna need that or not, but we need the pointer. But it sits on this frame, and it runs this lug. This lug. It sits on here about like this. Is what it's doing, and this lug follows this cam track. It rotates it like this when it hits the rear. So it hits this, it follows back and it hits this surface here. And then that's in recoil. When we go into battery, well, it should go through the whole sequence. So it starts out here, and one of the problems I had to overcome, how the hell I can rotate a barrel, but this barrel needs to do this as well. It needs to go up at the end. It comes back, it hits the cam, it turns. It's unlocked from the slide at that point, and then the slide goes rearward and the barrel moves up slightly. So I had to get some length on this lug. And then when it goes in, when it comes back, it goes in battery, it's gonna move down until the slide gets to the point where it can, the slide, it won't allow that barrel to turn until it gets to this point back here, and these lugs are clear. Here's the other locking surface on the inside. This is almost like a lockup, like a bolt action rifle. So it's probably, I would say it, if I had to guess, it's probably the strongest lockup of any, other than say like a something like a Desert Eagle. It shoots really high pressure rounds, but it's really really strong lockup for a pistol. So anyway, back to this barrel interface with the frame. It comes back here and it turns, and I had to be able to do all that. And then when it's back in battery, it's back down here and it's rotated this way. Looking at the some of the things that I would improve would would be to widen this feed ramp, and then do some things that would bring this top round up higher. You know, think about that's there when this is in recoil. It's up here, and what I ended up with. It's not terrible. I mean, it works somewhat with the magazine I got, but I would want to get rid of that. You see this gap over here, and make just if I could present a full width ramp to that top round, that feed round, that's what I'd want to do. There we go, focused. But I say I got a hold of a CAD program, and I drew an improved version of this gun with some more considering the lessons learned when I made this. So that's the barrel. We talk about the. Let's go. We got the frame in my hand. Let's go with that. So, trigger on this one pivots. It's pinned up here. It pivots. I need. It's got a out of battery. This piece here. If you watch, this piece here is the disconnector. It's the disconnector, and it acts as a out of battery safety. So if you watch the transfer bar, it will go down when the slide is in the wrong position.